Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing alright. I am doing good. A little bit better this week. Voice is still a bit croaky, so apologise if it breaks a little bit here and there. But yeah, we'll crack on. That time of the month for a little bit of a whiz round, see what's going on. See, the bananas are still looking quite good. I definitely thinned out that middle bunch way too much when I took some of the leaves off. Got a bit excited with the bread knife, but they're looking good. Pretty big. Didn't protect them over winter. The one in the middle actually collapsed and completely almost went to the ground. The one on the right was okay in the end, in -8, so that's pretty good. Probably a bit sheltered, more sheltered over there from the northerly winds which come off the top of that fence towards us. So let's have a little whiz round. We'll have a look at what's done well this year, what hasn't, what plans are going forward and that. So if we start in the evening sun section, which is here, first thing of note is I've finally taken the Asplenium nidus down from the hanging basket. I did say in the last video that it was because the wind and the sun had got to it. That was completely wrong. It had been over watered. Not that I'd watered it, but it had plastic lining in the hanging basket which had held all the water in. So yeah, when I repotted that one stank a little bit. So he's inside now. He's going to recover over winter, and we will try again next year, see if we can get it going. Going on, the Monstera cutting on the left there, you can see it's just sent out a nice new leaf, so happy with that. That's the first cutting I've ever taken. So yeah, he's doing well. He'll come in for winter. Giving the two Dryopteryx Wallichiana Jurassic Golds a bit of a haircut for winter. They look pretty good. They haven't gone really red this year or orange as they tend to do, but it's nice enough because there's enough of a tinge there. We'll see what happens next year. Really going forward in this area, it's all about the roofing for this section. I'm going to put a tin roof just on this little evening seat here where I sit. Reason for that is because I like the sound, but I'm not going to do a full roof from the trellis on the left all the way across over to the fence post. It's just going to cover the patio area there, so that will leave this sort of where this flower bed is here on the left, that will leave that open to the elements so it can get some rain. And then same again, the roof will stop in line with the edge of the patio stones, and the Phacedora's roots, roots or trunk if you like, is on the right side of the stones, so that will get water when it rains as well. And yeah, that would be quite nice. I think I just got to work out which way I want the roof to run, whether I want it to run back so all the water runs off the back of the fence and over the other side of it to the front so that it all comes down like a waterfall if you're sat in there when it's raining, or maybe like a pitched roof so it sort of is high in the middle and then comes down left and right so all the excess water gets dumped into the flower beds. Not sure if that's going to be a great idea though, because it might overwater them, and we know I do like to overwater things anyway, so I don't need any encouragement on that respect. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with them all in this area, to be honest with you. All growing quite well. Yeah, we'll just leave it. Hopefully they'll come back really strong next year as well and prod on from there. So moving on to this evening bed, the Cyathea bed. Gonna do a little bit of moving and shaking with this one. Essentially, if you can see it, there is a fern right there. That one's going to be coming out. I'm going to move the Atrata from the full sun bed that we'll get to into there, and the reason for that is because it's a bit more of an upright fern. It'll still let the maidenhair fern there you know, cascade around it and things like that, hopefully. And that thing's not dead yet, which is good because I've already killed 2 of them. But then, to be fair, I did have them up in those vertical pockets when I was doing some experimenting when they were with where the fig tree was last year. Cyathea is doing well. That frond hasn't quite come out yet. You can just see it at the back there, but it's not split like I thought it had. It just sort of popped out the side of its crozier. So we'll see if it has any mutations or any you know, funky stuff going on with it. But yeah, that by the next time that one should be out. These 2 ferns here, the Asplenium on the right and the Dropterus lepidopoda, which is another one that has a red tinge to it when they come out. They're both going to be coming out. I'm going to put the sword fern in there because they're quite big, bushy, and I'm hoping that'll act when the northerly breezes come. They come from our right now, but because of the way of the fencing, it whips round the house and gets jetted up this way towards that fence. So if I get a nice big bushy fern in there in the winter, hopefully that will just give me a little bit of a marginal gain with respect to keeping that cyathea alive. But other than that, it's starting to fill out quite well. This Dropterus wallichiana is actually recovered now, so I'm going to leave that one in there. He marries up with this one here. They do get quite big. Just look how Jurassic that frond looks coming out towards 9 o'clock there, where it sort of inundulates, and they will come out lime green with a really deep black stipe. So yeah, looking forward to these next year if they survive, because they got frosted off last year. Other than that, these Dixonias are doing pretty well. We've got the small plant one down here, which is slowly but surely trunking out a little bit. We've even got a blast from the past under here, if I can get to it. But the silver fern that I dropped that big rock on has obviously moved its rhizome across a bit and started growing, so he's going as well. The Dixonia has thrown up this new frond towards the fence. I don't, on reflection, I don't feed that one enough. I've probably only fed it twice this year with a weak seaweed fertilizer, so I'll probably need to do something more with that. But this section is looking quite good now. It's sort of, sorry, I've kicked over my little, I just stood on that accidentally and it's pushed out. So, but just the way, like from here, because the whole point of this is that all these ferns and plants I want them to encroach over, like the Fatsia is doing, onto the play area, so that this big 1.5 meter wide path is only about sort of 500, can only fit a little person running around in it. So it's starting to get there now anyway, which is quite good. Fatsia is just about a flower, as you can see at the top. The one in the corner is flowering, as you can probably just see around the side of the climbing frame. So yeah, it's all starting to fill out, which is good. I think probably not next year, but the year after is going to be the key year. That's going to be the sort of final, you know, size for a lot of these ferns. And then I need to worry about obviously the sort of top half of the fences, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So over in this corner, we've got the two cyatheas. The one over where that irrigation is on the right, you can just see, and then this one here to the front left. They're all doing all right. Every time I look into these or read up on these Cyathea cooperi now, they get less and less hardy, so I may have picked the wrong Cyathea to experiment with, but we'll see. You never know. We'll see what happens in 5 or 6 months time. So update on the scale bug infestation. There is still a scale bug infestation on this fig tree, but you know, I need to attract the predators into it. The only other thing I'm going to do here actually in the short term, sorry, is if you just have a look at the sort of, that's a 1 foot tree fern there, and the fronds kind of take up that kind of from knee height to hip height, if you like, that sort of second third of that, as I call it. I want exactly the same thing, but in this corner down here where this Polysticum polyblepharum is, and then that will make that really nice, just fill that sort of section that's just missing something there out. We got 2 stars of the show down here. You can probably guess them already. The Herrenhausen, which is an absolute beast. This thing's really growing well. Dead easy to grow. That is full shade as well, so if you've got a big space to fill in dry shade, Polysticum setiferum Herrenhausen, nice beast, looks good. All like, it's an 8 out of 10 every day of the year. It doesn't sort of come in and out like some plants or ferns do. That just looks gnarly every day of the year. And probably the most underrated fern, especially by me, are these Asplenium scolopendriums. They just add a nice Jurassic leathery touch to it, I think. So yeah, definitely worth getting. Don't like full sun, but will take a little bit of sun in my experience. But yeah, just look at the leaves and the things. And I went up and did had a walk the other day, and there's whole bank sides of these. I've got some pictures, I'll put them up at some point. Yeah, they look really good, so glad with that. The only other bit of maintenance I've done is chopped all the flowers off of the Pilostagia verbenoides at the back, so hopefully that'll actually start growing now. We've been through the cyathias, they're still throwing out fronds. There's a nice lime green one just there. Actually does look quite nice, this, doesn't it? Yes it does. So moving on, Schefflera Taiwaniana. This thing's really bushing out now, so I'll just leave that. This is one of the ones I'm counting on getting quite big and coming up this height, so yeah, hopefully that won't die. But it survived -8 last year. All I did was mulch it in, and that one, you know, was okay. The other Pilostagia, cut off all the flowers on that one again. So you can see on this Tetrapanax bed, ignore my temperature sensor. I've put that there because I won't go into it now, but I have my reasons, so yeah, we'll go into that another time. You can see I've put the monkey puzzle in at the back left of the T-Rex from the front, if you sort of see what I mean. And the good thing is it doesn't look great from here, but from the house side you can't see the plant pot, so it just sticks his head up above. And I'm and ahhing about putting these two pines in, the monkey puzzle and the Wollemi pine over there. I'm really and ahhing about putting them in the actual ground, but I understand the risks that are involved with that. But if the Tetrapanax is just going to take over the place anyway, I've got this Blechnum chilenense down there which is just going to take over anyway, so I don't really see what I gain to lose, apart from the fact that in 50 years time, where I've got no chance of being alive, there's going to be a 20-foot monkey puzzle. So yeah, we'll see. But if I show you that view actually, just from the house, or try and mock it up, that's kind of level with the kitchen window. So yeah, you can see the effect it has. It's quite nice, just fills up a spot. I'm going to keep them in pots for now, I think, but I do like that, just the contrast of the big Tetrapanax leaves and then the fine needles on the conifers. So yeah, that's looking good. And just remember where that barbecue is and all that, that's going to be a big waterfall, and that is on the horizon. I tell you, that is coming soon. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. That's what all those rocks are for there. And yes, the only other thing I'm going to do in here before sort of, you know, winter sets in, the 3 deciduous ferns, which I'll show you them. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's go and have a look at them from this side, just because we haven't had a look at them all summer, just so you can see the form of them. So these ones here, if I can get under, sorry, I should have prepared this. Well, yeah, that one there is a royal fern, or was until the Tetrapanax leaf collapsed on it. This one over here is a lady fern. That one's really, if you're going to get one of the deciduous ferns, that Ethereum Felix Femina lady fern is the one to get, trust me. That is a real nice one. And then we've got a ostrich fern at the back there, Matichua Strophiopteryx. They're a bit sort of like to run in my experience, but if you've got somewhere wet for them, so they're all 3 of them will take full sun, but they'll need good moisture. I would, if you've got a gunnera, that is the exact conditions you want for them, and they will go some. So yeah, Wollemi pine is doing alright. He's not drowned yet. I think he's got his little bulbous thing that protects him for the winter, so as long as it doesn't rain too much, I'm pretty happy just to leave him out all winter, to be honest with you. Get him used to the light and all that, you know what I mean? Treat him mean, keep him keen and all that jazz. In the centre bed, this Polysticum muntium, the sword fern that's right there, that's the one that's going to go over next to the cyathea. Gingers haven't flowered this year, or the hedychium. I'll probably dig that up and probably dot it around the garden, maybe a bit more sun for it or something. I don't know where I'm going to get more sun than there though, but something to ponder on. There's the grey one is the Kiliensis Tormentosa. These do like full sun. He's just place sitting at the moment. I do have a spot for him, but we'll go into that the other time. And then the other atrata, or as it's known as the shaggy wood fern. As you can see, it looks quite shaggy. He's doing all right. The one mistake I did make this year though is on this Dryopteris erythrosora brilliance. This thing should be coming into its own now, and for the next 6 months it'll be a bright beacon in the garden because they go real lime green over winter, so definitely good for winter interest, and it's evergreen. What I did where I messed it up is when the new flush was coming through in the spring, I chopped all the old ones off, whether they were sort of alive or dead, if that makes sense. So yeah, it doesn't need to do that like you would do for the atrata. They'll probably all go off over winter. I'll leave them on, and then just as the new croziers are coming out, I'll sling them all off. But yeah, that one is more a sort of picky one that just every now and again take one off here and there. When it comes to the middle bed, I have started formulating the rough, very rough, sorry, someone left all this wood here. I have started formulating the outside sketch of a plan for this. So what I'm thinking is that in that flower bed there's probably room for 6 plants. There's actually 7 in there now, but I reckon if I stuck to 6, now my vertical zoning is done in 6 zones, which actually works out really conveniently, as you'll notice. So let's just go through it for one argument's sake. So zone 1 would be hanging over the the black stuff, the edging. Number 2 would kind of be the level that the ferns are at there, the sort of bottom quarter of a fence. The second quarter of the fence would be number 3, third quarter 4, top quarter 5, and then above the fence is 6. So if I was to put 6 plants in there, 1 for each zone, that should tally up quite nice, if that sort of makes sense to you. And essentially I'm thinking tree ferns, tree ferns, tree ferns. So on the sort of where that Chiliensis tomentosa is, 6-foot tree fern. Where the gingers are, 4-foot tree fern, and then where the erythrosora is maybe a 1-foot tree fern. That gives me the canopy effect hanging over this patio. And then if I change that banana over there for a big Dixonia as well, they'll meet in the middle, because that's supposed to be the money shot, if you like. I want it so that you can't see anything apart from maybe like the barbecue and the wood and the rocks, sort of, if you see what I mean. Everything else, so you won't be able to see the Wilhelmi pine, you won't be able to see any of the seating, all that rubbish at the back and all that. Like, I want it really enclosed there. But bananas just won't be there all year round. So yeah, anyway, I won't go too much into it, but those are the things that I am thinking of at the moment for that middle bed. I'm in no rush, but I do like to think about these things. So going on to the full sun bed, we've got the cannas are still flowering, like I said in the last one. They're absolute beasts, quite nice form on them. This is Canna iridifolia E. hemini. They're absolute beasts. That thing up there going up underneath that banana leaf, and he's probably only stopped because of the banana leaf. I mean, I don't know, I think that's probably 2.5 meters, something like 7 foot, 8 foot maybe. So is a beast. Let's have a little check up on the hare's foot fern. That's this one here. Nice, looks very carroty. That's bulletproof as well. I did not protect that at all last year, and it pulled through -8, so fair play to him. And he's very exposed up there. We've got another rabbit's foot fern over here. Here he is, and we can probably see why they call it that, because you can see the rhizome is creeping everywhere. Look at that beast at the back as well. So yeah, a good little fern. That's the atrata that's going to go over by the Dixonia. Other than that, these ones are doing alright, covered in the Nephrolopis enough. I won't simp over them much longer. Lophosaurus is doing well as well. Shall I give you the obligatory blue shot from underneath? Lovely jubbly. So the experimentation for the giant honeysuckle, it going up vertical one in the end, that bit in the middle just wanted to go straight up. So you can actually see I've just made a little hook just there, just to keep it on the wire, and it's already unfurled itself and started going up. So I'll let that go up, and then I'll wrap it around again and again and again. This one over here is starting to make its way over. It's still growing really well, this thing, actually, seeing as it's not getting any sun at the moment. But I fancy that whole top foot, if you like, you know, the run with the pergola, that's not going to survive. The bit on the fence post, if the bananas keep their leaves and the weather goes our way, maybe. And I'll admit I'll be a little bit disappointed if I do actually lose the whole plant, because I have got my oversoil heating there, so we'll see. I may have messed up a little bit though, because I've moved the insetti over here in the pot so it gets more sun, if we ever see it again for 6 months. But I'm a bit worried that I might have blocked the sun for that bit of honeysuckle that I want to train into the corner, so I may move that because I don't want it to suddenly start shooting out elsewhere, because it can't get any sun over that end. If you're wondering, in the end I took 4 cuttings off of this. 2 of them are dead already, 2 of them aren't doing anything, and I'm going to go down the route of no news is good news with them. So yeah, we'll see how we do. Last bed now, camellia corner. Let's go and have a look at the camellias. They're all budding out. They haven't really grown, but I did give them a pretty heavy trim. They're just there to make that statue head sort of disappear, so you just catch glimmers of it. In good news for the Nephrolepis, this one's split, so got a nice new plant now, which I can do what I want with it. And then yeah, just the last bits here. The Erythrosaur, you can see that starting to come through now with all the orange. They're doing really well. Syaphia is doing really well, that lime green thing in the centre between that and the Nephrolepis. And like I said, with this Hypulpis punctata, it's deciduous anyway, it's already started dying off, so when the time comes I'm going to dig that out, split it into 2 pots, and because it'll take full sun, I'll put the pots on the patio just for next year when I'm still not finished it up there. And the bamboo is doing all right. That's quite good when that thing comes out, because that gives me a real key spot to get a nice specimen of some sort in there. 1 foot tree fern. But yeah, who said that? So going forward, I better wrap this up. My next plan, like I said, is to put the roof on that bit of pergola, the metal roof, or I might just buy some cheap bit of plastic roof and just sort of eye it up and see what happens, and then I can put it in there with the rain and see how it falls and how much comes off, and then do it finally in the end. So I might do that. Another thing I was thinking of doing, actually, you know, I've got this wire running across from that fern fence post all the way across to here. I may be going a little bit OTT with this, but I'm starting to think, like, because there's going to be quite a lot of climbers, would it be worth, and I'm just checking that the wife isn't stood behind me listening, but say from that pergola end where that wire's attached to, if I then ran a couple of wires across to the post on the climbing frame, then run 2 wires back to the fence above the fascia, and then run 2 wires from there across to the edge of the swing bit. The swing's not there, but you can see it overhanging there, and then run a wire to the back fence, and then like zigzag it around there, if you see what I mean. Just something I'm pondering, just to enclose the space a little bit for the little one, and I think that could be really a nice effect, especially with all the climbers. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting way off point here. So my next one, I did go to buy some lights. I searched outside lights in Google or Screwfix, and it came up with about 250 different options, so I'm gonna have to decide on style and all that, just because I want to finish that trellis and that fence off all the way across, so I can get rid of all that wood I tripped on. But yeah, just look at that monkey puzzle, cheeky little plant there, looks good. So that's one thing that I need to do, move those plants around, maybe get a tree fern if I can manage to find a trip down to where I get them from in Taunton, desert to jungle, and yeah, do that roofing. So yeah, that's about it really. Can't really say a lot more than that. Everything's looking good. I wonder how good it's all going to look the next time I do one of these. I did see some really nice metal fern leaf silhouette art for the garden, so I'm thinking where I've got those the three octagons in the trellis where that lizard is. I've got one either side of it and one there behind the insetti. I think they'd look really nice in there, so I may go and get them shortly. Yeah, it is what it is. Right, anyway, hope everyone's doing well and still enjoying their gardens and whatnot, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.